the first game I want to talk about has to be Brazil. It has to be Brazil. So as I'm like trying to figure out what teams I think can do it all, I always run with Brazil just because.
I think if you watch football, or even if you have like the slightest understanding of what football is about, you always have to put Brazil up there, especially this generation.
The Brazilian stars of our childhood just had such a molding of my enjoyment and perception of soccer and, you know, all that corny shit. So I love Brazil. Got a soft spot for Brazil. Want to see Gabriel Martinelli succeed. I always kind of include Germany because I got some German roots in me, and then Germany are also just a world monster. Good. Yeah, they're always good.
You play a game for 90 minutes, and at the end, the Germans win.
You got to count France in the mix.
Yep.
You got to do the obligatory Messi, Ronaldo, Portugal, Argentina.
I guess.
I don't know if I'm Spain. You know, okay.
Yeah.
One thing about this Brazilian team, they have so much attacking talent, right? They have like 9 players that can play in a front three for them.
Yeah.
And I know like Richarlison is a good player. I know Gabby Jesus is a good player. But everyone has been talking about, this Richarlison that Brazil loves when Richarlison plays up top for them. Richarlison is so good for Brazil. And I'll be honest, like I don't really pay attention to international football as much. Especially with the fact that the U.S. have failed to qualify for the World Cup in like 8 years. I think that's also what it is. And
we'll get to the U.S. game too. The USA can't qualify.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I think my love for international football, basically I was taking a hiatus. And so I come back and I'm watching Richarlison play. And this whole game, as they're playing Serbia, here are my main thoughts of the Brazil game. One, I didn't understand what the hell Richarlison was doing for them, what he offered for them. It felt like he wasn't even involved in the game at all.
Yeah.
And I'm, Arsenal biased. I want to see Gabby Jesus play. And Richarlison, I used to really like Richarlison, and then he went to Tottenham. So now I got a little bit of an agenda.
I hated him at Everton.
Of course you did.
To Tottenham, and I still hated him.
I remember his first year when he was just lighting it up, and he just could not stop scoring it. I was like, this kid's special. There's something there. But then he went to Tottenham, so now, it is what it is. The second main point, Serbia are a physical team, Yeah. They got a little Viking blood in them or something.
The Balkans are a very
right?
tall region.
Right, they're very physical tall,
stocky guys.
Brazil's all these like frail
Branislav Ivanovic type dudes,
Right, so what happens? You're going to get kicked, you're going to get fouled. Neymar's playing as a cam. We all know Neymar can do unbelievable things as a cam from his time at PSG. But he was effectively neutralized in that game, I felt like.
He was almost euthanized during the game, bro.
That's a fire line. Oh, man. Yeah. No, he got kicked to shreds.
To pieces.
Like we said earlier, when we were just watching the games earlier, he's the poster child for diving and flopping. But it's kind of justified.
Yeah, at the same time, he be getting 2 lumps kicked out of him, bro, every single game.
And now he's
out for the rest of Brazil's World Cup group stage.
Yep, his ankle's looks like a golf ball on the side of it.
It's just a repeat of 2014. It's another version of 20, because I think he got injured in 2018 as well. Neymar is just snake bit, man. I can't even say just snake bit, but it's like I was telling you, like, the weird paradox that, like, if Neymar was tougher, he'd be protected a lot more. Because it's like that sentiment where it's like, I hate divers, I just want to watch the game, like actually play the game, not the game he played. It feels like Neymar isn't one of those guys. But then if you actually watch him play the game and you actually like keep an eye on him, you realize, this man be getting taken out in the most fucked up ways possible. It looked like he was a centerpiece of a John Wick movie, and he was not John Wick.
It's brutal, like all the beatings he takes on that field. But anyways, so like with that, Brazil still had enough firepower with Neymar being
out.
Out.
I'm actually, for the first time, I don't feel nervous for Brazil without Neymar.
They look good, dude. It looks like
a well-oiled machine. They have a very effective press. Like they only really press once.
They did press well. That was something that really stood out to me. It was the pace of that game off rip. Brazil were playing faster than anyone I'd watched in the World Cup so far.
Brazil looked like Real Madrid, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Keep it a buck, yeah. Vinny looked, like that whole front three.
Vinicius Jr., bro.
That whole front three was just running at defenders all game. And then Vinny, of course, electric as usual down that left side.
Yeah.
The most burst player. I don't know how to say that. Nobody can keep up with him when he plants that first foot and he's going, right?
My man got tendons from God, bro.
Yeah. Also, it just seemed like nobody could like find a finish. Vinny had a couple chances. Rafinha was getting slandered. Rafinha missed a couple bad chances. But I still believe in Rafinha a lot. I think he's an amazing player.
Yeah, one game does not a player make. This is probably the first World Cup where I've really like been on Twitter like that, which is ironic because 2018 on Twitter tough, but not for the World Cup. And this is my first one, and I've really had to remind myself not to take people's hot takes and not to internalize those hot takes, because it's like, man, people will destroy you after one game.
I got to do that too, because it's so reactionary, because that same person on Twitter that's slandering Rafinha is going to be praising him to the stars when he's
like
doing well.
Couple months.
Yeah, so it's just what it is. And so, and then out of nowhere though, Vinny hits this outside of the foot pass from the side of 18. This man Richarlison, who I had been, I won't say slandering, but I'd been chirping a little bit about his performance. Boom, touches it straight up inside of the foot, twists his whole body, scissor kicks the ball over this defender standing right in front of him, kind of ducking out of the way. Yeah, just misses his head and buries it bottom corner.
Rifled that shit.
It probably was the goal of the tournament in like the second, third day of the tournament.
Yeah, it wasn't a bicycle. It was a fucking, I don't know what the hell it was. Scissor kick. Yeah, it don't matter what the fuck it was. That shit was incredible.
It was beautiful.
I didn't know, and it was wild when Richarlison scored that. I think I texted you like 10 minutes before. I was like, bruh, what the fuck does Richarlison do? Yeah, and he showed me what the fuck he does.
Yeah,
he looks way better for Brazil. He's another one of those international team players, just like Guillermo Ochoa. Looks way better for the national team than he does for his own team. You know what I'm saying?
The thing I'd say about Richarlison too is, dating back to his Everton days, I always thought he had like this extra level of, what's the word, like dribbling ability. Like he has that silk on the ball. He definitely does, and he can score incredible goals, and he did at Everton, but he's so streaky. And I'm curious to see if he can replicate this form throughout the World Cup. Which, I don't know, maybe he can. Like, maybe he just benefits off playing with fellow Brazilians like that. And
the way he played, you were kind of right. He almost seemed like one of those guys who he's only there to score goals. He's not really there to help build up play. So you kind of only have 10 men to build up. And then you have your 11th man, or I guess 9 guys to build up. And then you have your 10th man, scoring goals or whatever. But, bro, again, this Brazil side, they don't even need it. They don't even need him.
Yeah.
Bro, they subbed off 3 or 4 of their fucking attacking players, and they didn't miss a beat. They had 3 subs, and all 3 of their subs were world class fucking players who kept the shit going. They looked like a well-oiled machine from beginning to end. Serbia definitely had their chances against Brazil, but I mean that back line of Thiago, Marquinhos, you got Casemiro, who still can run for forever.
Casemiro controlled the
Lucas Paqueta looked pretty good. Bruno Guimaraes didn't even make it on the pitch. Serbia is kind of Serbia, so no offense to them, but they're like one of the weakest of the European teams that's made it, and they didn't even really trouble Brazil for real. It was more like organizational issues on defense for Brazil, but it's kind of one of those where it's like you guys are holding onto the ball or dominating for so long that the one time that it finally goes to your defenders, everyone's kind of asleep. But if you're able to dominate Serbia like that, when you have Alexandro as your left back and Danilo as your right back, I mean, they looked impregnable still.